All right, so let's go to 4.2, creating a TBEST application scenario. So this kind of goes back to those original slides where we were talking about transit system development, and we're now into the place where we want to create these application scenarios. So we've already gone through steps 1, 2, and 3. We validated our model using observed ridership. We brought in all of our data inputs. We use the TBEST model, and now we're ready to create application scenarios. That would be, when you're doing this for, in at your desk, you're creating new routes, you're doing realignments, whatever is called for your application, you can do that in TBEST. Okay, so again, our application scenarios can support a variety of TBEST, or sorry, strategic and service planning applications and projects, TDPs, operations analysis, et cetera, right? So, many different transit planning applications can be supported here, not just TDPs. We're doing this for TDPs, but many different applications. Certainly, we are developing for a TDP or COA, they will contain detailed assessment of service changes. So during those studies, there'll be a lot of back and forth between, what service changes to implement and, what should go into the plan. And certainly TBEST can be a big part of that, where you can test different scenarios as they're coming up and being evaluated and during the actual planning process. So in general, when you're developing an application scenario, it will require data inputs, right? So the implementation year of the proposed service change, that was one of the initial questions that came up today. Alternative network, GTFS, or GTFS tabular service inputs, which would include a list of new or removed or modified routes with proposed service change levels. That would include stop locations as well. Operating speeds for new routes would also be an input, any fare changes, any socioeconomic growth from the TAZ data, and parcel level land use changes as well for long range plan or DRI or TOD. So that's something you can use the parcel editor for to implement those changes. Okay, so let's just create our TBEST application scenarios for our no build and our constrained plan. All right. So I'm on 4.2, creating a TBEST application scenario. So in TBEST Explorer, so this is creating the 2035 no build scenario. When I say no build, it just means that you're going to apply the socioeconomic growth out into the future, the 10-year forecast in this case, but you're not going to change the service at all. So it's basically your existing service, if you don't change anything and apply the population and employment growth, what happens in terms of ridership. All right, so we're going to take our spring 2025 scenario and make a copy of it and call it TDP 2035 no bill. And importantly, set our forecast year to 2035 and make our wage growth rate at 1%. So we have an annual growth rate at 1%. Now, one thing we didn't show you is this lookup to the US annual mean wage, and I'll just show you what that looks like. It actually goes and accesses the Bureau of Labor Statistics site, and once it's ready, it will show us the lookups. Okay. All right, so by default, when it opens, it's going to open to Florida, and it's the wage year currently, the most recent wage year from the BLS is on 2023. So for every county, it will give you the average person wage, meaning each individual person, their wage, for each county, right? And all you would need to do is double click on one of these counties, and it would enter it into this mean annual wage. And of course, we know we have folks from outside of Florida, so anywhere in the country, you can do the same lookup. If you're in Georgia, you can do the same lookup for any county in Georgia, and then double click on it, and it will, pull the wage. So it's just a very fast way. This used to be a little bit difficult to achieve. Just looking up this information just makes it super simple. Okay, just wanted to show you that. And so we click OK here to copy our spring 2025 scenario to our no build. So we have our TDP 2035 no build scenario. So what we want to do is create a grouping for our TDP scenarios. So in order to do that, we right click on it and we select move to scenario group and add a new group. And we're going to call it TDP scenarios. All right. So automatically our TDP scenarios folder is created and inside of it is our 2035 no build. Fantastic. Okay, so let's just set the growth rates, make sure everything is working fine for our TDP scenario for the no build. So if we right click on it and set the socioeconomic growth rates, and I'm in exercise part 2, set the socioeconomic growth rates on the 2035 no build application scenario. So we have executed step 1, now we're at step 2, just verifying that what we have is correct. We're really just looking to make sure this looks right to us. So all of those settings that we had carried over from when we had originally done this for our spring 2025, we made a copy of it. So all of those settings that we have are now in here as well. And all we really need to do is set the growth rate. So our employment should be total employment. We're referencing the 2045 shapefile. Our projection year is that. And remember, this is relative to this data. The 2045 is relative to the zone data 45 shapefile. It's not relative to our TBEST forecast year. We just need to know what out year this data is for so that we can calculate the annual average or the compound growth rate that would get us out to that year, right? So that's really what we're doing here. So let's hit set growth rates. All right, fantastic. So we have set those. We can say OK. All right, so we're in part 3, create the 2035 network application scenario. So similar process, we're just going to right click on our TDP 35 no build this time and select copy. And this time we're going to call it the TDP 2035 constrained plan. And we're going to enter a description TDP 2035 10-year scenario. And we already have forecast year of 2035. Remember, we had just copied our no build, so that had 2035 as the out year. Everything else looks okay, so we're going to just say okay. All right, so again, we're going to add this to our scenario, TB scenario. So we're going to right click on the 2035 constraint plan, move to scenario group and add not to a new group this time, but we'll have TDP scenarios listed. So it will move into TDP scenarios. So now our 2 TDP scenarios are listed under that folder. Okay, so the last thing to do in this section is just to kick off a model run for our 2035 no build scenario because we're not going to do anything else to it. We have set the growth rates. We're not changing the service. Really, it's just the no build. So we're going to just run the ridership estimation model by right-clicking on it and setting a ridership estimation model. Gatorville, TDP 2035 no build, all time periods using the TBEST land use model 5.0, all of the default model run options, and just hit run model. All right, there it goes. So that out of the way, and we can continue. Any questions that came up? Nope. All right.